Our time a little bit on each floor, so we could have hit more stores, but just to be there as the experience and see all the stores and go up on the different floors in the actual Macy's and stuff was a lot of fun.
Oh, Macy's. What can you say about Macy's? It's huge and wonderful, and it was so much fun, and it was so beautiful. They had it all done for the holidays and stuff.
It was definitely an interesting experience with the really old wooden escalators and downstairs, like the whole place where it was just Macy's merchandise and bears and that side and stuff.
After then, we went to Carmine's, and I had heard, great stories about their food. We went in, and they had the whole back room squared away for us.
They bring out these huge portions, come out plates, probably this big, and we all just started picking out. Someone says, "Trevor, you can't down that entire helping of garlic ziti." 30 minutes later, Trevor had downed an entire portion of garlic ziti.
Today we went to Sam Ash and got to play all the electronic drums. And then we got knockoff Louis Vuitton watches. So cool.
Besides shopping, we went to the Empire State Building and we went up to the top and we stayed up there for a long time. It was real cool and cold.
Our group, I guess, decided to walk all the way down to Times Square to go to the music shops, which they said was 3 blocks away, which ended up being 11.
Coming out of the music store, we saw a bass player for the Strokes, which was pretty cool. Nikolai Forture got his autograph. That was fun.
I'm really interested in Phantom of the Opera, actually. I've been waiting to see this play my entire life.
I don't know. I can't even explain how much I liked Phantom. It was so good. I've been looking forward to that the most out of anything else, other than the parade, of course. But because I'd wanted to see Phantom all my life, and I don't know. I thought it was very, very good.
Phantom of the Opera was the most amazing thing I've probably seen in my life, and I've never seen anything on Broadway. And to see in my opinion, the greatest show there probably is out there, with the best cast you're ever going to see on Broadway, it just blows your mind.
Everyone was totally quiet. We're usually a rowdy group, but Phantom got us to be quiet real fast. Right after the show, they had some of the cast members and some of the people from the pit and some of the stage people come out and talk to us, because someone from our school's father was in the cast of the play.
The cast, that was probably the greatest thing about that, is that we get to meet the cast, and it just gave us insight to what they do, what they had to do to get there, and what they go through weekly.
They answered a lot of our questions. They talked about what it was like to put on a Broadway production, and talked to us about how some of our kids could get into it. We all went into Times Square, and we took a huge group photo of all 200 and however many of us there were. There was just so many people, and everyone wanted to see Times Square, so everyone was looking around and trying to take in the sights, and it was at night, so everything was all lit up, all the big TVs and all the signs. So it was really awesome.
Happy Thanksgiving from the Big Apple!
While we were up in New York, we got new drums. We had been waiting for them for a while. They were changed and shipped to in New York, and it was a waiting time where we were really nervous, thinking that maybe we'd march old tenors, but they ended up showing up and we had to put them together. Well, at first you feel kind of special because you get to leave the group and put together the drums, which wasn't the case at all. It was kind of a time-consuming thing that we didn't want to do.
Wednesday, really for the most part, is our rehearsal day, the day before. We were supposed to be a giant stadium in a parking lot, so we have big wide open space. Arrangements were made, buses were ready, but it rained and we didn't want to be outside, and it was chilly, and we knew we had a parking garage next door, but we found an empty floor.
Cars were parked there. We tried to get a level that had the least amount of cars. We were asked by management to move. Having to move was a hassle, but I can understand management. They didn't want people's cars getting hit.
It was really cold and rainy, and when we were on the second story of the parking garage practicing, we were in front of the dancers, and whenever they jumped up and down, the whole floor moved, and we felt like we were gonna fall through the floor.
When you get 200 and something people marching in step, which is rare for us, we got sections of that concrete slab rocking, which is like the bridges that blow down in the wind. And I was becoming concerned.
The practice was definitely nerve-wracking because a lot of things that hadn't gone wrong before started to go wrong, and we were nervous about messing up and maybe not getting to our formation in time.
Well, the show position was different than the parade position. So once the show was over, going around the corner, we had choreographed it so that the guard and dance was going to get back into their positions. Because we're playing and moving so fast, those kids were practically running to get into their right spots. You're not finished at that point, even though you've done the show. There's still other bleachers, and they're expecting to see a good performance.
Thank you very much for a hard rehearsal. We definitely appreciate it. We obviously had some issues going downstairs and then coming back up and not having radios, transmitters and everything. We appreciate all the hard work.
Shopping in New York when it's raining is not fun. We all had to go buy umbrellas. Everyone's taller than me, and my umbrella would bash into everybody else's, and these New York people would just get mad at me, and I'm sorry, I'm short. We shopped, and that was good, but it was so gloomy. The weather had a really bad effect on everyone's attitude.
Applebee's was like the most relaxing thing. The first time you get to sit down after this long day where you can just be relaxing at some place familiar, Applebee's, knowing that you're gonna have to wake up to the parade the next morning.
After rehearsal and a decent dinner, we try to tuck everybody in, but there are certain people that had to work. The guard put flags on. They had to fix their equipment. The dancers did a final rehearsal, run through. And the drummers were playing brand new drums, and they had a rehearsal on equipment that they had not played before. So even though some people hopefully went to sleep, some people were not allowed to go to sleep. And that's life of a band. Parade Day is the day, Thanksgiving Day. That's what it's all been about. We got up crack of dawn. You had to be in full dress uniform, plus your winter undergarments.
We didn't get much sleep that night, and we've been told that it's going to be cold. It might be snowing. Me being a good little student, I put on a thermal shirt, thermal pants, and pantyhose.
I can just imagine what our band looked like, 250 people, half them guys wearing skirts and pantyhose. I'm sure all the bands around us were, God knows what's wrong with these people.
My clan's alarm clock didn't go off. So our chaperone knocks on our door to get us to go downstairs, and we're still sleeping. So we had a whole 10, maybe 15 minutes to get completely dressed.
We went downstairs to load our drums in the bus, and everyone was getting nervous. We're like, come on, we gotta go, we're gonna be late for the rehearsal, but everyone was just anxious to get there. A lot of people weren't awake at that time, though.
I think they said it was the warmest Macy's on record. It was 70 degrees, I think. So, it was like Florida weather.
The rehearsal at 3 o'clock was quite difficult, actually, because it had been really wet and stuff. It was just yucky, and it was hard because everyone was so tired. Dancers just didn't want to dance. We're just ugh.
There was this band before us, and they looked pretty good, and they had to do their show 3 times, and we're just there's no way we're gonna get through this.
When we did our run-through, they stopped us the very first time. It was kind of confusing, but after everyone got set and knew where to find their little marker, I was kind of assured that everything would be okay.
We weren't really sure what we did wrong, so we were kind of what are we supposed to do? What did we do wrong? How do we fix it?